Welcome to day 2 of our goal setting for 2025. If you missed the first video that we did, I recorded it yesterday, I'm not sure when it was published, go back and look at it because we talked about how to set goals, what goals you should set, what makes a good goal versus a bad goal, and also some questions that you should answer that will just help make goal setting more effective for you. Today, we're actually going to get to the fun part, which is actually setting goals is fun. Today, we're going to get to the mapping of the goals. I think this is fun too, because we're going to take these outcomes that we set in the first video, and we're going to break them down into time frames. So we're going to break them into quarterly, monthly, and weekly goals that will then help you kind of make your weekly plans. And I'll show you how I do that for each of my 3 goals here. And then we're going to talk about tracking and achieving those goals. So let's get started. The first one here is my finance goal. So that's investing more money in a larger percentage of my income. And my goal is just to invest a total of $100,000 over the course of the next year, an additional $100,000. So it's a little bit vague. I didn't specify where or in what. And it's not income related. It's just a flat dollar amount. So for this breakdown, I started by putting everything into quarters here. And since I'm not really planning on any major income changes, I'm just planning on doing the same contribution. So I just broke it down into 4 parts, each quarter investing 25K. And then did the same thing from there. So if we open Q1 here, you see that first, if I just look at the months, I've broken those down. I've broken the 25K, take it as an endpoint, break it into 3 parts, and then go into each month. And I did some rounding here. So I just broke it into 2K a month, coming out to around 8. That works out because it's a little bit behind the 8.34, but there's also a bit more than 4 weeks in January. And every month I put in is 4 weeks, which I find gives myself a nice little cushion period if I fall behind. And mentally, you kind of start keeping up with these numbers here, and you feel like week 4 is the end, but then you have a little extra period. It's very psychologically comforting. I like it. So you can choose to do yours more exact, but that's how I like to do mine. And then we do the same thing for February and March, and for Q2, Q3, Q4. So now what that means is I just know how much I'm setting each month. So in this scenario, it's probably an automatic contribution that I can just set. And I guess the rest of it is just making sure I contribute the money and I'm not spending it. So that one, there's not really any other action items to do apart from just kind of keeping track of it. And if we keep doing that, by the end of the year, we'll meet our 100K goal. So that one's pretty straightforward. Let me go on to the second one here, my health and fitness one of learning to deadlift and getting strong at it. So this is an interesting one because this is not going to be something like a regular contribution. It's something that, first of all, I have to learn to do from scratch. So I'm kind of starting from zero, but I know I'm going to be able to get through, probably skip a lot of the early weight, whereas towards the end of the goal, it's going to be really hard to get to that 225. So what I mean by that is going from 0 pounds to 20, 50, or 100 pounds, maybe even, I don't know, maybe 100, but I could probably just do that right from the start, and I could just skip all of those initial steps. So I should front load the first part to go faster, understanding that getting from 200 pounds to 225 pounds is going to be way more difficult than getting from 0 to 25 pounds. I hope that makes sense. So if it doesn't, this will hopefully explain it. So I did the same thing. I broke my deadlift weight into my 4 quarters here. So at the end of Q4, we'll have hopefully made our goal of 225 pounds. And then you can see I made the increments a bit more. They're closer here towards the end than they are in the beginning, by a bit, not by a ton. But also the starting point, but the end point for Q1 is 135 pounds versus like 50 pounds or something way lower. That's because if we open up Q1 here, and let me close up the months so it's easier to see those, you can see that we have kind of getting closer to our starting point here. Oh, that should be 35. And if I open up January, then we see that week 1 is learn to deadlift. So I'm probably going to learn to deadlift with the bar. The bar is 45 pounds, so that's my starting point. From there, I want to be careful, and I don't want to injure myself, which I've done before. So I'm going to go up slowly from there. So I'm consciously going to make these increments really small, going from 45 to 55. Very, very small weight changes for something like deadlifting. And can work that out incrementally. And then as you see, as I get into these later points, those increments get bigger before kind of getting smaller again. And that's just my own personal judgment because I know the reality of this specific goal. So that's why it's important not to just do them numerically. You actually have to think about the numbers. And that's how you make actually realistic goals that are achievable, but also more fun to keep up with, because this is going to be consistent progress that I can stick with. And I'm going to be able to complete it. I'm going to be able to build the exercise. I'm going to be able to build strength, build really good form so that I'm very well set up to start achieving heavier weight when I get to that point. But I don't want to start this too heavy because then I'll get injured. I also don't want to start it I don't know. Well, I guess you can't really deadlift 0 because the bar is 45. So anyway, I thought this was a good example because it's kind of nuanced. All right, last one here, personal. So I want to write more. That was kind of my quality goal. And then the quantity number I put to it is I want to write at least 20 personal articles in 2025. And this one I had to think about a lot because 20 articles is less than 2 a month. And initially I was like, that's not very many articles. But the reality of my life is I do a lot of writing. I write for work. I might want to start a project. I don't know, writing. And so these personal articles, to me, 20 is good. And I decided that if I end 2025 and I have 20 new personal articles on my website, I'm going to be really, really pleased with that. So I think it's a good goal. I'm going to keep it. And let's look at our breakdown. So let me collapse these again. So, oh, there we go. That last one here. So now, this one is similar to the investing one in that I've broken it up incrementally and that I'm starting at 0 and ending at 20. So I can just easily divide each quarter into 5 articles a quarter. And then I'll expand it one further, collapse these. You can see the months. Gets a little bit more of kind of a judgment call. And to be honest, this is a little bit wacky. Like, I just sort of objectively decided to start with one article and then kind of ramp up a little bit. But it really just gives some flexibility. Maybe 1 week 1 month, I only write 1 article, so I do 2 the next. It doesn't have to be the same, but tracking out the numbers will at least allow me to kind of roughly see whether I'm on track or not. So it's like if I end Q1 and I only have 3 articles, I'm like, okay, I'm already behind concretely. And then when I open up this, I really want to be able to have an action plan for each week. That's one of the really nice things about this goal setting system is that theoretically, you should have pre-built tasks for your week based off of what you've outlined. So when 2025 starts and it becomes to week 1, I just want to start writing my first article outline. And then I'm going to edit it the next day, write the outline the first day, write the draft the second week, not day. I'm getting confused. Sorry. And then week 3, I'm going to edit and publish that first article. And then since I only wrote 1 article this week, maybe I then want to spend that 4th week just coming up with ideas for the next articles I want to write so that come February, I can write 3 articles here. And then you can see that's just a little bit different because now I'm writing more articles. So, and that's 3 total. So there's 2 new ones here and now I'm at 3 total. So that one's a little bit unique. And also I think writing's different in that, exercising and deadlifting is not something where it should be like, oh, I'm just really excited about deadlifting right now. So I'm going to deadlift every single day of this month and it's going to be great. And I'm going to get way caught up or ahead of my goal. Like I'd probably just injure myself. However, writing, I might, have a slow work week or work month or something comparatively. And so I do a lot more writing so you can catch up or get ahead. But again, I think having roughly something to track is really, really important. So that's how I broke down all of my goals by time frame. It's a little bit of work doing it, but I just think it makes it infinitely easier to actually accomplish them because you know your segment and you just always know where to go. So let's talk about actually tracking and achieving some of these. So first of all, you want to review them each week and maybe even every day when you're making your plan is sort of, okay, what am I supposed to be accomplishing by the end of this week for my goals? And if you've made your goals correctly, maybe some of them are hobbies, but they're probably also work related too. So those are very important. If you did your goals right, they should be very high priority for you. So you should be working it into your day-to-day tasks. Evaluate your progress on the way. If you're falling behind, try to figure out a plan to catch up. If you get so far behind that you feel like you want to quit, readjust them. And that happens. It's better to readjust a goal than give up on it entirely, especially if it's a goal that you actually want to achieve. So Maybe halfway through the year, I've only written 5 articles. It's becoming obvious I'm not going to write 20. And so I'll shift that goal down to 10 or 15, and I'll still be happy with that. And then next year when I'm making my goal, I can make a mental note of, okay, I was a little bit ambitious last year on that one. If you're excelling faster, adjust, but recognize that you're really excelling outside of what you thought you could do. And that's wonderful. So, if I get halfway through the year and I've already written 15 articles, maybe I'm like, let's go for 30. And that's great. And I can readjust that goal. But then if I get to 25, I should still recognize that I surpassed my initial goal. I just became more ambitious. So I can also note that in the next year that I can actually accomplish more than I thought I would. If it's something like regular habits, like writing's a really good one. You could make a template off of it. So if I go to my preferences here and templates, I could make a template that says just habits. Oh, my microphone's in the way. And then it's like, right. Maybe it's just right. Maybe that could be writing an outline or an article. And then, again, deadlifting is not something I want to do every day, but maybe I could just put exercise because I know I want to exercise every day. And then I can just go into my daily note whenever I'm ready and just call on that pull up habit, and then it'll be there for the day. So that works well if you're doing something for every day. Investing, again, that one should be one and done. So I don't think I really need to do anything for that. But habits are a good way to get things done. So think about the habits that are going to contribute to your goals, put them into your notes. The last thing that I want to mention here is that some of your goals, one example that I didn't have here is something that takes meaningful steps in a way that it's not necessarily numerical. It's more milestone based. So let me just kind of do a really basic version of this right now. Let's say that one of my goals, I've got to move this. Hopefully this won't mess up the audio. Let's say one of my goals, I'll add like maybe another career one. And let's just say start a company. Those are not going to be, that's a really good goal to have. And it's, hard to achieve. But it's not something that's like you're going to be hitting a number every month. So maybe the first one is I'm just going to write the steps here. Form a business entity. After that, I need to set up business infrastructure. And maybe there's a lot involved in that. Maybe it's like website. Maybe it's like a business bank account, payroll, all of that good stuff. And then maybe after that, there's like product work I need to do. So I would basically just go through for whatever the company I wanted to start and outline every single step that I had to complete to create the company. And these are now effectively action items. So I would then probably go and turn these into tasks. So I'm going to do Command Shift Enter there, and that turns it into this circle that I can cross off and not cross off. And I would do that for each of these. I should do one more here. What would be the next step? Maybe I need to I'll just say hire a designer. Cool. So these are now tasks, and they are associated with this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the tasks tab and then show you how you can view these kind of year by year. Okay, so now I'm here on my tasks page, and this is just my test deck graph, so I don't have any other ones, but if I had any tasks on my daily note, they would show up here in the current. But here what I'm interested in is this goals for 2025. So if I click on this, it's the note I was just in. I have it pinned on the left here, and that shows here that it's pinned under the label, but also you see this label up here for goal mapping, start a company. So I know this is related to my annual goals, and I know that these are specifically related to starting a company, and they're things that I need to do. So forming a business entity. Let's say, I know we're still in December right now, but let's say it's January, and I'm like, okay, it's week 1. My task for week 1 is to form a business entity. Or maybe we're just planning that ahead. So maybe I look and I want to do this the first week of January. And so I can actually go schedule this into January. I can say, January, probably not 1st. We'll start on the 2nd. We'll give ourselves New Year's Day off. So I can schedule that. And then maybe that's my task for the first week. And you can see this now goes up to upcoming because we've scheduled it, but it still retains our label. So we still know it's related to our goal mapping, and we know it's related to starting a company. And then you could go through and do all of these. Maybe that this one's the next week. So maybe that's going to be, I don't know, January 7th. You could schedule these however you want. And then it'll show up there at upcoming. And maybe I don't know really about the designer yet. It's too early to even schedule that. So I'm just going to leave this in here. In reality, you probably would have a bunch of tasks across different projects that you could then schedule when you want to. But that's a really, really easy way to keep track of them. They'll show up in your tasks tab, and you'll just always see those projects. So they'll remain on the top of your mind. And it prevents you from getting in that state where suddenly the end of the year is here and you're like, oh my God, I haven't even thought about any of my goals since January. No. Yeah, or December when you set them. So that's pretty much it. That is kind of the goal setting thing. I mean, that was a lot. This video alone is now 15 minutes, but I think taking the time to really consider your goals and really set them and track them like this makes them much more achievable and much more fun. And I think we all would love to get to a point where we look back at the year and we're like, wow, I actually accomplished a lot of what I wanted to in the last year. So give it a try. I think it's a really important part, and it's just a really fun way to end the year and start another one.